Hello everyone. So today I'm going to do a video explaining why Guns and Gadgets is incorrect in keeping the filibuster. Okay, so this isn't some kind of hate video. Okay, I really like the channel. I've been following it for years. I'm going to continue following it. I think you guys should all do the same. Jared provides lots of really good content for the gun community. So I just want to let you guys know where I am coming from. Okay, so Jared made some points about why we should keep the filibuster, okay? And the main gist of it was that if we get rid of it now, okay, eventually when Democrats get back into power, okay, they're gonna run wild, okay? They're gonna pass all the gun control laws. They're gonna do all sorts of crazy leftist stuff. So the thing that Jared was not able to explain, and I don't think there is a way to explain it, is how do you stop them from doing it anyway, okay? Democrats have already tried to get rid of the filibuster in the past. The only reason why they couldn't get rid of it is because of Manchin and Sinema, okay? So they had 48 votes in favor of getting rid of the filibuster, Manchin and Sinema against it. And the Democrats basically ran them out of the party for that, okay? They all turned against them. Any Democrats that get elected into the Senate are going to go along with getting rid of the filibuster, okay? So Republicans holding on to the filibuster and limiting themselves, right? Not being able to pass Trump's agenda, it's the equivalent of Republicans disarming themselves in the hopes that Democrats will also disarm or stay disarmed, okay? And that analogy is obviously nuts, okay? Just because good guys disarm doesn't mean that bad guys are going to disarm. So that's why it makes absolutely no sense to hold on to the filibuster and limit ourselves when we know that Democrats are absolutely going to do it. They've said they're going to do it. They'll campaign on it. Even Fetterman, who right now is, it seems to be like the most sensible of the Democrats, even he says he wants to get rid of the filibuster. Okay, so if you got Fetterman in the purple state saying that he wants to get rid of the filibuster, it is 100% guaranteed that Democrats are going to get rid of the filibuster. Okay, so Republicans holding on to it, okay, does not mean Democrats will return the favor. Okay, exact opposite. Okay, they said they're going to get rid of it. Republicans like to hold on to tradition. Okay, Democrats, especially the socialist leftist ones, okay, they are anti-tradition. Okay. Their whole platform is based on getting rid of American tradition, okay? So they're going to get rid of it regardless what Republicans do, okay? So I have a plan here that I think makes sense, and I've been circulating this, hoping that it will catch on. Trump has been very public about the need to get rid of the filibuster to get anything accomplished, and the reason why I think he's being public about it is because he wants people like me, and other people out there with channels to go out there and campaign for getting rid of the filibuster. Okay, so here's the plan. Number one, we end the filibuster rule. Okay, now it's a rule. Okay, it's not a law. It's not a constitutional thing, right? In the Constitution, you only need 50 votes to pass anything through the Senate. Okay, so that's what the Constitution says. The filibuster is a rule. Okay, basically the rule says that that basically you can halt the vote. Basically you need 60 votes to proceed to a vote. That's what basically it says. At one point you actually had to get up and talk nonstop. They got rid of that. So now you basically need 60 votes to proceed to a vote. Which then you could win by a 50% majority. Okay? So it's a rule. Either party, when they're in power, can get rid of it with a 50% vote. Okay, because it's a rule, not law. Okay, So you get rid of the filibuster, okay? That's the first thing you do, okay? Then what you do is you pass Trump's agenda, okay? For one thing, it would be a lot. You could pass laws to make it easier to deport people. And if you look at, look at the Mondami victory in New York. I think like 70% of the people that voted for him were basically foreigners. Okay, they hadn't even been in New York for 10 years, according to the statistics that I heard. Okay, so the reason why they're importing all these people is to vote for leftist, socialist, communist policies. Okay, so number one, you get rid of the filibuster rule. Number two, you pass Trump's agenda. Okay, but number three, okay, what you do is you then bring back the filibuster as a law. Okay, as a law. So in order to, what you would, now remember, at this point you just need 50 votes to get it through the Senate. Okay, but then once it passes the Senate, the House also votes on it, right? The House doesn't vote on a rule. They don't get to vote on Senate rules. But as a law, it would pass the Senate with 50%, right? Because we got rid of the filibuster, okay? It passes the House. Trump signs it, right? And this is after he's basically made his agenda law, right? He's passed all the laws that he wants to pass, okay? Now the filibuster is a law that says that, okay, for anything to pass the Senate, you need 60 votes, okay? So you're able to use the 50% majority in the Senate to pass a law that now says, going forward, any new laws need 60% to pass the Senate. And I wouldn't even call it a filibuster at that point. I would just say that you need, you need 60% votes to pass anything through the Senate, okay? Just to simplify things, okay? So what you're doing there is you're opening the door so you can pass Trump's agenda. You pass it, and then you shut the door behind it so that when Democrats eventually win in the future, now to remove the filibuster law, okay, they would need to have 60 votes in the Senate, okay? So that's how you make the United States basically Democrat-proof, okay? Must be done. If we don't do this, really bad things are going to happen. Eventually, Democrats are going to win. Okay, now they're going to win. They're going to win. Here's the thing: if we don't do this, it is absolutely guaranteed that the Democrats are going to win the midterms. Okay, and they're going to win the 2028 election. And the reason why they're going to win is because Republicans will not be able to accomplish anything. Okay, if they can't even pass a continuing resolution now, they're not going to be able to pass anything. Okay, so come midterms, what do Republicans have to show? Nothing, okay? So those moderates in the middle that, swing either way, they're going to be like, these Republicans can't get anything done. We'll vote for Democrats, okay? And that's going to continue all the way to 2028. Same exact thing is going to happen. Republicans won't be able to accomplish anything, okay? And those swing voters in the middle are not going to be motivated to vote for Republicans, and basically Democrats are going to win, okay? So the really important point here is, don't look at these polls that say that approval rating for Democrats is 20%. Okay, regardless what the polls say, Democrats are always going to vote for Democrats. Okay, so even if they're not happy about it, they're going to hold their nose. They're going to vote for Democrats. Okay, and the thing with Democrats is they can always win votes by promising free stuff. Okay. Case in point, Mondami in New York City, okay? Even if there's no plan to actually deliver, okay, even if it's impossible to deliver, they will always win elections by promising free stuff. So that's a built-in advantage that they have, okay? Republicans can't do that. They can't go out there and just promise free stuff, right? Because their platform is kind of based on integrity, okay? Democrats can promise free stuff that they know they can't deliver and win elections, okay? So that's a built-in advantage for the Democrats. So that's why Republicans have to do something, okay? They can't sit on their hands. They can't just say, "Oh, filibuster, we can't do stuff," They have to use a plan. They have to come up with a plan or use this plan, okay, to deal with not being able to get anything done, okay? So end the filibuster rule, pass Trump's agenda, okay, and then bring back the filibuster as a law, okay, and you would only need 50% to pass it at that point. But once it passes, now down the road they would need 60% to remove it, okay? Now, an argument can be made that, hey, listen, if the Constitution says that you only need 50% to pass something through the Senate, can this be challenged, right? Can this be challenged at the Supreme Court? I mean, yeah, it could, but it'd be a pretty big hurdle, okay? It would be a lot more difficult than just getting rid of the filibuster as a rule. Because 100% guaranteed, Democrats are going to get rid of the filibuster. By bringing the filibuster back as a law, okay, it's a much bigger hump to get over. Not impossible, but it is a much bigger hump. It makes sense. It is the most logical thing to make that difficult, to make that as difficult as possible, okay? That's only logical, okay? So, now, Jared, Guns and Gadgets, he went through a whole list of things that Democrats are going to do, if they get a chance to remove the filibuster, okay, or if they take power and the filibuster is not in place, okay, and they're gonna do it whether or not the filibuster is there. If they have the ability to get rid of the filibuster when they take power, it is absolutely certain that they're going to do it, okay? They're going to add 2 more states. They're going to make Puerto Rico and Washington, D.C. States, which is going to give them 4 more senators and a whole bunch more representatives in the House, okay? They're going to pass all sorts of gun control. They're going to open up the borders, okay? And what they're going to do, if it looks like they're going to lose an election, right? All right. What they're going to do is they then are going to be the ones that make the filibuster a law. Okay, so on the way out, if there's ever an out for them, right, because there's a good chance that Republicans will never win anything again, okay, but on the way out, if it looks like they're going to lose, right, they will then make the filibuster a law, right, so that when Republicans come back to power, okay, now they have to get 60 votes in the Senate to get anything done, okay? So this number 3 thing here, right, of making the filibuster a law, okay, on the way out, so that the next party has to overcome 60 votes, okay? If the Republicans don't do it, the Democrats are going to do it, okay? And again, an analogy that we're all comfortable with, that we've heard before, just because a good guy disarms doesn't mean that a bad guy is going to disarm, okay? So that's the situation that we're looking at here, okay? We know Democrats are going to get rid of the filibuster. Keeping it in place now doesn't prevent the Democrats from removing it when they're in power, okay? And lastly, the end result of all this, right, if we don't get rid of the filibuster now, is that the United States is, if the Democrats take back power, remove the filibuster, you know what, the United States is going to become like France and England. Okay, so look at the situation over there, right? Socialist countries, look at all the laws they have, all the restrictions. That's exactly what the United States is going to be like, okay? So 100% guaranteed. I mean, this is, now, if you guys disagree with me, right? If you think I'm wrong that the Democrats are not going to remove the filibuster, right? Please let me know why. Okay. So again, this isn't a hate video of some type against Guns and Gadgets. I think it's a great channel. I'm going to continue watching it. Right. I do recommend you guys go to the comments section there and ask, how do you prevent Democrats from removing the filibuster? Okay. What assurances do we have? How do we keep them from removing the filibuster, okay, when they eventually do get back into power, okay? So that question needs to be answered, okay? So if you don't have the answer to that, okay, you better do something else, right? Drop some comments. Let me know if you think I'm wrong and why. Okay, I want to know why. I definitely want to hear from you guys, especially if you think I'm wrong. Let me know why. Explain to me how you keep Democrats from removing the filibuster when they're back in power, okay? Unless you convert it from a rule into a law, okay, which would then need 60 votes, to remove it, right? To get that past the Senate, okay? So please give me some comments. I promise I'm going to read. I always read the comments. I always respond to all the comments, unless like YouTube doesn't show them to me or something. I promise I will respond to every single comment you guys make. Okay, I want to hear why you think the Democrats won't remove the filibuster when they get back in power. Okay, so drop some comments. I'll talk to you all soon.